how do you balance enjoying the process with staying brutally honest about where you still need to improve? So that's basically like, okay, you know, how can you be cool with moving forward, but still be able to tell yourself, okay, shit, I got to lock in. I got to work on this for real. I got to start doing my cardio. And what's easy about that for me, because I can look back, like I told a lot of guys at the expo this weekend, because a lot of them, because the LA Expo is pretty close to the Anaheim Fit Expo. That was, I think, last August-ish, something like that. So when I was at that expo, I was like 265, much bigger, much softer. And everybody was nice about it. They said, "Whoa, dude, your face is so much slimmer." But when I look at a picture of myself bulked, I can say, and I'm not being mean to myself, like, holy shit, I was fucking bulked, you know, just because the difference is so staggering. But I don't take that as an insult. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh my God, I can't believe I look like that. Because I know I can go back and forth, like, pretty consistently, and I've done it for so long. So I think there's what's the word? There's a proficiency that's involved that's almost necessary to be able to handle really hardcore, just like straight up critiques. Like, dude, you've got to lose 100 pounds of fat in the next 3 months, or whatever that may be. Because if you do have that proficiency to do it, well, then that critique isn't an insult. You know, like, what's insulting is if someone tells you something completely ludicrous and like out of your capability, they're just saying that to be mean. But if you can do it and you know you can do it, well, then you can just take a critique as a critique, especially if you're giving it to yourself. Because there's a difference between me saying, all right, shit, man, I gotta get my cardio done. I got a few more weeks of dieting. I'm gonna make this shit happen, whatever. Or like, oh my God, dude, I'm not where I want to be. Like, one is complaining, and then one is just objectively identifying a goal. And sometimes a goal is just a problem that you're trying to solve. But just because you look at it as a problem doesn't mean it's a bad problem. It's just a situation, you know? So really, if I could spin it around, just try not to turn into your freaking number one biggest hater and be like a general critic and say, look, you should work on this. And then you can kind of react to your own statement there and say, okay, how am I going to do that? Let me give myself a plan. Let me work on it and move forward like that. What are we thinking here? Chirag Singh 55. How do you stay consistent? What keeps you going each and every day of the year? Well, that's just kind of just because I want to do it, right? It's like this lift, this cardio, all this stuff. Like, this is fun for me to do, so I want to do it. I've never gotten home from, I'm going to get home from this whole, like, big-ass weekend trip because I hit myself with the oldest trick in the book. I'm on the plane, left my keys in the hotel nightstand to the car, so I had to Uber home, Uber back to the airport with my spare key, then come back. So it's been a long day. I'm not going to have to convince myself to go home and say, oh man, I want to lay down. Right? Because I want to do that. So the same thing with the training. I mean, it's a totally different situation. But because I want to do it, there is no like policing myself to do it. It's like just something I want to do. And also, I know in the future I want to be able to say that I did it. What's a better situation? You locked in for 6 months or you didn't? So I can kind of put myself in my future tense and say, shit, I'm going to regret it if I slack off right now. Let's go get after it. You know, that I think it's not just bodybuilding, but I think anybody who has a little individual thing that they work on a lot and they put a lot of energy into and they work like for years, not just like a phase, they kind of just develop a little bit of a different value system than a lot of other people. Like, if somebody's day only revolves around, okay, I've got so and so amount of hours I've got to spend doing either like my job or school or something. All right, how can I just spend the rest of my day having fun and like going out and just partying, or like, okay, let's go, like, and there's nothing else that they're trying to like work towards. Whatever, it's your life, it's not mine. But a lot of the guys who I like, they've got something. They've got a little something extra that they're really passionate about, they really want to get into and work on, and they just do it for its own sake, right? Like, relative to any kind of other activity, you could kind of call it like their dream, you know? And it doesn't have to be so grandiose as like anything crazy, but just something that they like, they're kind of driven towards, they're just always thinking about. That's just a person that's wired a little bit differently, you know? And even if it's not lifting, you can kind of recognize it. Whether it's like, camera stuff, or like videographers, or like any kind of business-minded dudes, like everybody's hustling their own way towards something that they want to achieve. And that just kind of separates them from just, you know, somebody that doesn't have something like that going on. So if you don't have something like that, I feel like that's just a cue to kind of scan around and, you know, see what you can put some energy into, right? I feel like throughout somebody's day, you're just giving off a certain amount of energy all the time. You know, I think we all funnel a lot of energy into our phone and just kind of waste it because the phone is very distracting and it's kind of fun. I'm certainly guilty of that. But I also think that I want to be able to like kind of put a magnifying glass up, siphon a good chunk of my day's energy into the gym and everything gym related that I really want to work on. And by siphoning, or not siphoning, but like concentrating it like that, I get way more out of it than I put in, you know? So it doesn't have to be all day. These workouts don't take 8 hours. I'm not doing 10 hours of cardio or like running marathons. But just in those few hours, I want to have a dense energy and like effort and focus and just like, you know, kind of intensity where it adds up over time and it just snowballs forward, if you kind of see what I'm saying.